Thanks for tuning into the podcast today. I am Mike Monteforti. I'm really excited to talk to my good friend and colleague, Len Spada from Spada Law Group. Len, thank you for taking some time today to be on the podcast and chat with me a bit. I always love talking to you. Been friends for a while now, so I appreciate you taking a little time out of your day to chat with me today.
Mike, I'm happy to be here. You're a good friend and a solid referral source, and an attorney that I'm comfortable referring work to. So, and we have the same haircut, so I'm always happy to.
Yes, we do. We've always
same haircut.
that. And I think we probably met at we're in the same marketing group, Great Legal Marketing. I think we met there. I don't know. It was probably pushing 3 years ago now. I think
I think it's
twice.
3 years.
So yeah. And so I appreciate you taking the time, and I love to get your take on especially marketing stuff, what you guys are doing, what's going on with your firm. So before we get into that, I know people that tune in and listen to my stuff, I think are familiar with you a bit already, but just in case for anybody new, why don't you just give me a quickie, a little bit about you, your firm, and kind of what you guys do, and then we'll talk about the good stuff.
Okay. Well, I founded Spada Law Group in its first incarnation with Spada and Zullo back in 1998, and we were designed to represent individuals who had been injured. Car accidents, medical malpractice, motorcycle accidents, cycling accidents. We only represent injured individuals. My background prior to that was I worked for a large firm in Boston, and I did insurance defense work, and I worked on the opposite side. I defended people. I was paid by insurance companies to defend their insureds, whether it be a driver or whether it be a commercial entity, but I was on the other side of the case, the cases that I now work on. So I just think that my experience in doing the defense work for so many years was really helpful in allowing me to see both sides. I enjoy the plaintiff's work, which is an injured person that makes a legal claim is called a plaintiff. I enjoy representing plaintiffs much more so than I did representing large corporations. I grew up in the city. I've always sort of rooted for the underdog, and I really love helping what I see to be the underdogs in these litigation with large companies. So I like what I do. It's our motto is we make it a fair fight, and I really like that aspect of it. Having somebody come in who's not sophisticated in the way the legal system works,
right,
whether it be someone that's new to this country or somebody that's been here for many generations, they're not familiar, and they're going up against large insurance companies with high-paid lawyers. I love the fact that when I get involved and my firm gets involved, we make it a fair fight. So that kind of gets me juiced up. And
yeah, that's fantastic. And when you think about how daunting that is for somebody to think
absolutely.
about, again, the insurance company's got all the money in the world. They can pay, the lawyers for unlimited time and, hire a team. And here you've got somebody that's been hurt and, can really see that as almost an insurmountable obstacle. That's why, when clients of mine are hurt, I send them to you because I know that, again, you've got that experience on both sides there dealing with it, on the defensive side at first and then doing the work that you do now. But at the same time, the clients that you deal with are people to you, not just, numbers in a file.
We joke around, and sometimes I'll put it in some of my marketing, but it's so true. It's like once a client, always a friend. And now it doesn't happen that way with every client. I mean,
right,
that's obvious. But really, I have so many close relationships with people who are former clients, and I like that we're able to provide our clients with a comfortable place and people that they're comfortable speaking to. Again, people are very intimidated by lawyers.
Yeah.
Being a lawyer for the last 30 years, sometimes I wonder why.
We forget about that.
We forget about that. But to someone else who's never had any interaction with the legal system or lawyers, they're intimidated. And, years ago, I realized that, and we do everything in our power, as do you. I'm familiar with your staff, when they call, we really want to be a warm voice, an understanding voice. And it also makes us better lawyers because when a client is comfortable, they're more forthcoming with information,
Sure.
and they help us tell their story. And ultimately, that's our job. Our job is to persuasively and passionately tell a client's story to someone that doesn't really care much. The
Right.
insurance company, defense attorneys, a jury, a judge. So really, we need to get to know our clients well in order to be able to communicate their story, because their story means a lot to them. To the insurance company, oh, it's just somebody else who got hurt.
Right.
Whether insurance adjusters know it or not, over time they become almost callous to the day-to-day story of somebody getting hurt, lawyers saying somebody got hurt. So we have to be good at what we do in order to separate ourselves and be persuasive so that we can get our clients compensated, when it's appropriate for them to be compensated, which is, if we took your case, we assume
Right.
that's
Right.
how it should work.
And that's it. You're dealing with adjusters that can certainly get numb to it because
Absolutely, that's a good word.
all day, every day. But at the same time, you mentioned a jury. You've got people that, they don't necessarily want to be there. They're pulled out of work for the day to serve on jury duty. They're thinking about, what am I missing at work that I'm supposed to be doing?
They don't want to be there.
To create empathy there and make them empathize with what your client, is going through. That's not an easy thing. There's an art to it, which I know, something that you're very good at, and you and your firm and your staff, but it's not an easy thing to make someone in that position care about, what your client's dealing with.
Right, and
We wanna go home.
and we have to be aware of the fact that, like I said, I've been doing this for 30 years, and it sounds weird to even say that because inside I still feel so young, and I feel like someone who just started. But I've been doing it a long time, and we have to be aware that we too, as lawyers and case managers, we too can become numb to, oh, someone else got hurt. So I try to train my staff, and I think they're really good at it, is that when somebody's calling our office, maybe they might be a little cranky, maybe they might be a little short with us, and we have to realize why that is.
Right.
We're not hurt. We're taking the calls. Caller one is injured. The next caller is injured. They're not happy. They're out of work. They have bills mounting. They're in pain. They're worried.
Yeah, they're scared.
They're nervous. So we try to train people to be empathetic. And I tell people, if you can't, deal with somebody being a little, prickly at times, or being a little, aggravated, they're not really directing it towards us per se.
Sure.
They're just having a bad time. So we need to that needs to be trained. And my staff, especially our intake coordinator, she's the best. And I'm not just saying that. She's been with me for over a decade. She literally feels people's pain. Like, I've watched her speak to clients on the phone who were crying or upset, and I could see a tear come. I mean, this woman, her name's Leonore. She's amazing. And she has a skill. That's not so much a skill, it's a personality trait that's what I'm looking for. Like, when I'm hiring people, and it's hard to, find that in an interview, but when I find that it's not there, people don't last long.
Right. It really, because you can train certain things, but she's built that way. She's got that, and you can train her on the rest of it, but being able to
It's her DNA
and that empathy, that's like you said, DNA, it's in the way somebody's built. And when we get calls, especially with our elder law clients, or someone's got a parent that's dealing with dementia, that sort of thing, they're confused. They don't know what to do. They don't know what their options are. And I try very hard to make sure I'm not getting numb to that and treating each person.
I mean, it's easy to do. And we're human. It's easy to do. But as long as we have a self-awareness that's a step back and be like, okay, why is this person behaving the way they are? Well, maybe it's because right now life is terrible for them. And we're here, and we try to tell people, if they've been involved in an accident, they're injured, our job is to take everything off their plate mentally.
Right.
Their job is to focus on recovery.
Yeah.
And any administrative issue that comes up or worry, they need to put it on our plate. That's what they're paying us for.
Right.
They're paying us a substantial fee in way of a percentage of whatever it is we recover. I want them to be able at the end of a case to say, maybe it was tough for me to recover physically, but Spada Law Group gave me the ability to just not worry about that.
Yeah.
Okay. They took care of that. And all I had to focus on was getting myself back up on my own, my 2 feet.
That,
And
and that's
that's my goal.
which is great. And when you mention helping people, that's, for the same reason as why I like what I do, is because I can take these stresses away from people. I had a client in this week that I represented for a while, and she said to me, Mike, every time I come in here, I'm worried about something, and I always feel better when I leave. And I thought about that, because not everyone, takes the time to say that. But I said, that then I've done my job. I want
How
you
nice, how nice is that? Like, bravo, bravo.
not worried. Let us take that burden, and go on with your day. So
I've told people that all the time. We're blessed to be able to earn a good living. Okay, we're not shy about the fact that we earn good livings, but we do it, and we earn a good living by literally helping people. Sounds corny, but if I'm having a good year financially, I'm living a good lifestyle, I know that I'm doing that because I'm helping people.
Right.
And the more people I help, the more successful our firm is. But not everybody gets to help somebody on a daily basis, whether it be in a small way, like just taking a phone call and allowing someone to vent, or whether it's in a big way by winning a jury verdict or settling a big case at a mediation for a client. If you make, you go to work every day, if you can make someone's day just a little bit better every day, then you're living your life in your professional life, I think, in a real meaningful way. And I love that. So it's a lot of people talk about how, lawyers, they're not happy, and so-and-so hates being a lawyer. I don't. I love being a lawyer. So I had a conversation with someone today. They're like, I'm trying to convince my kid not to go to law school. And I don't say anything, but I love being a lawyer. Being a lawyer has been a great profession for me. So maybe I'm in the minority, but I think if you practice your craft well and you do it with passion and sincerity, it's a great living.
It is. And I love what I do. I love being able to help people. It gives us an opportunity as well to be philanthropic, which I know you guys are. You guys do provide a number of scholarships every year, which I always, follow on your website. And I love when you put the pictures of the kids up that, the won scholarships from the different areas. And I mean, again, that's something that we're blessed to be able to do, and we don't have to do it, but it's something that we do a small one in my office as well. And I just look at it and say, how can we give back and help the community? And you and your staff are always, involved in those efforts, which is fantastic. And not everyone does that. They just don't,
I know it's a personal thing, but that's what, when I write checks, I'm not always super happy to be writing checks, because it seems like when you run a business, you're always writing checks to pay for something. But when I'm writing a check for scholarships, and I know that I grew up in East Boston, and I grew up in a family that we really, it's not even an exaggeration, we really had no money.
Right.
And my mom and dad were so proud that their son was going to college. It was the first one, and then they were so, they were over the moon that I was able to go to law school. And I was just a kid from East Boston. And now giving back these scholarships to these young people in the community surrounding my office. So they're people from East Boston, Winthrop, Chelsea, Revere, Saugus. And I know they're in similar situations that I was in way back when. And I see the passion in their eyes. I read their essays, and I know they really are striving to do good things. Giving them, and we give 10 scholarships, $500 a piece. It's $5,000. It's not a ton of money, but it's not a pittance either. I just know that it makes me feel great. So when I write those checks, those are the checks I signed that I'm not looking at going, oh God, really? I'm happy to do it. And I'd like to be able to do more over time. So we're always thinking of ways that we can increase the scholarship pool so that we can give a little bit more. But COVID year was a tough year, so this wasn't the right year to up it. But 2021's a new year.
And it's funny, because we do a few smaller ones of $500 each as well. And I think to myself, geez, it's not a ton of money. But when I was talking to one of the scholarship reps at Salem State, where I went to college, she told me that there are lots of kids whose decision on whether or not they can go to college hinges on an amount of money, $500 or less. And she said, you
Wow.
wouldn't think that that's
Wow.
how common it is, but it
Wow.
is. So she
I
said,
didn't know that. That's really.
those are, small scholarships, but they can be the difference for somebody.
That's
So
good to know. That's
yeah,
really good
yeah,
to
it's
know.
a pretty
Yeah.
cool fact which she told me. So I want to talk about, part of the communities that you serve when we're talking about people that have been injured and are looking for what are they supposed to do and how can they be compensated for their injuries. Some of the most serious injuries, from years and years ago when I used to do a little bit of litigation, and I would see people that were injured while riding a motorcycle.
Oh,
And it's a heck of a lot different than, you can be driving in a car and get in an accident and be okay.
walk away like
But
nothing.
if you're on a motorcycle and you don't have to be going all that fast to be getting into an accident and be thrown from a motorcycle and really, really getting hurt. And I know that you are making some efforts to help and to work with the motorcycle riding community. So I'd love to have you just kind of tell me a little bit about that, what you guys are doing and how you're helping out these folks, because they really can be on the receiving end of serious injuries if they're hurt while riding their bikes.
Yes. Well, like I said, we started the firm in 1998, exclusively representing people who were injured. So in that group, car accidents, motorcycle accidents, bicycle accidents, etc. We've represented countless motorcycle riders, and over the years, the injuries that I've seen from these motorcycle accidents, they're catastrophic. Okay, and I have a habit of saying to people, there's no such thing as a minor motorcycle accident. Right. You have minor car accidents. You don't have minor motorcycle accidents because you have our cars today and SUVs and trucks, whatever. Lots of passive restraint systems. There's airbags. There's crush zones. I mean, cars are so much safer today. People still get hurt, don't get me wrong. Sure. But you can get in I've seen car accidents where you look at the picture of the car and you just would expect that somebody was either seriously injured or killed. Right. The person walks away, they come in with whiplash, and I'm blown away that someone can walk away from an accident like that. Motorcycle accidents are, they're tragic. I mean, you've stopped at a stoplight on a motorcycle and somebody rear ends you. It's a bad ending. When motorcycle versus car, truck, motorcycle always loses. And I also realized doing years of injury cases is that very often, I would say the majority of the cases that I've seen, I have a lot of people come to me for car accident cases, and I'll review it and we'll go through, how the accident occurred. And a lot of times people come to me and I believe that they're at fault for the accident, and I tell them I can't help them. Right. It's very infrequent that a motorcycle accident will come to me and I think they're the one at fault, because the visibility issues, people in cars and trucks have a hard time seeing motorcycles. And, we as drivers of cars, trucks, SUVs, we may see motorcyclists, but we're not trained to look for motorcyclists. And that's what I'm trying to get across over time, is that don't just see motorcycles, look for them, because they're as entitled to use the roads as we are in cars and trucks and SUVs, but people don't have that mindset, and people are distracted. You see people watching YouTube videos, putting on makeup, texting, sending emails as you're driving. You pull up to someone, you look in their vehicle and they're on the phone. They're looking at the phone
all the time.
So now just think about being somebody on a motorcycle. Okay, that's what you contend with. So the other reason I wanted to get more into the motorcycle community than I currently am is because I really like the community itself. They treat each other like brotherhood and sisterhood. There's a lot of women riding now, and they really are a close-knit group. And I think they have to be because of some of the obstacles that they encounter as riders, and used to be this perception that bikers were these big bad people. I have clients who are doctors, lawyers, bankers who ride motorcycles. Yeah. When I was a younger person, I rode a motorcycle for a brief period of time too. And sometimes the the riders, the motorcyclists that I represent will be like, do you ride? And I'm like, if you saw what I see on a regular basis, you might be as jaded or as worried or as concerned about for their safety as I am, and so to bring it, what am I doing now to market to this group of riders is we're trying to give back. We want to give back. There's an organization called Riders Helping Riders and Bikers Helping Bikers, which is a fund, and they have charity rides, rallies, where the goal is to raise money, and the money is used to help injured riders who are in need of financial assistance. A really great cause.
Right.
And when I met an individual who's really involved, and I have a client now who's involved in it as well. And I thought, wow, what a great way to get out into the community, to do something of value, to really help out, put my money where my mouth is.
Right.
Yes, I want people, if they've been injured in motorcycle accidents, to call us because I think we're going to do a really good job for them. Okay. But also, like I said, put our money where our mouth is to give back. So what we're doing is, and I think it's a pretty cool idea. I came up with it myself, and some people thought it was hokey, but I have some people who think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
There's an August ride. It's called Sammy's Ride, and it's up on Route 1. It starts in Route 1 at Breakaway Lounge, which is on Route 1 North. I believe it's Peabody. It might be on the Danvers line.
It might be right over the Danvers line there.
Peabody Danvers line. They're having, I think it's August 28th, big ride to raise money for injured bikers, and we're going to have a pop-up tent. There's going to be a band, country band playing. It's going to be a celebration. Pre-game without the alcohol. I know pre-game has that connotation, sure. But pre-game. So we're going to have a booth out, and what we're going to do to raise money, and I'll show you, is we have purchased leather riding vests.
Okay.
I'm going to put it on for this podcast.
Yeah.
Because as much as I don't ride, I'd like to ride, and I feel like I can ride when I put it on. So we're going to buy about 10 of these vests.
Okay.
And on the back of the vest is going to be emblazoned with Spada Law Group with an American flag, established 1998. And what we're going to be offering the riders at the rally is whoever grabs a vest and agrees to be a brand ambassador for the ride, Spada Law Group will contribute $200 in your name. So
oh, wow.
if you're going to a ride and your goal is to raise money for this fund, why would you not wear it for an hour or 2 hour ride?
Absolutely.
And so if we get 5 or 10 of these, we can raise $1,000, $2,000 for the fund. It's great publicity for the firm, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
We're helping out, people that need it. And we're going to have a good time in the process. So this going forward, these vests will obviously be firm property. No one gets to keep them. And we'll go to rallies, and that's how we'll raise money for, injured bikers. And I think it's an idea that obviously it's going to cost us money over time, but we pick charities that we feel strongly about.
Right.
And we'll put more into fewer. Supposed to, giving to 10 different organizations or charities, we're going to try to narrow it down and be more impactful with our donations, so we can give more money to a group that we're passionate about. So that's what we're doing, and that August ride is coming. Will be our first ride. I'm excited about it.
I think that's awesome. I have a client, a friend of mine that rides. And I was talking to him last week, and he was saying, sometimes when they're doing these rallies and cars that are driving have to maybe pull over to let, the group by. And he said, people don't always like that, right? They get a little aggravated. I got to pull over and he said, what I try and remember, or what I want to remind people, is usually when that's happening, when we're riding as a big group like that, it's because we're riding for something or someone, and
Exactly.
We're raising money
Exactly.
for a person that's in need or for a cause. So, we understand we might need to pull over and wait a few minutes while, to let this group by, but remember that they're doing it for a good reason. They're doing it for something good. And I said, I was thinking about it, and I said, that's true. You don't realize that. And everybody's in a rush, and we're trying to get where we're going. It's, geez, I gotta let this go by now. But when those rallies are happening, it's because they're trying to raise money for a good purpose, and for you guys to be able to contribute to that. I love it. I love the whole concept of it, and just
I think it was, I was thinking of ways that I could do something that was different. I haven't seen anyone doing something like that. So maybe there is someone out there doing something identical. I just haven't seen it. I know the people in the riding community who have heard of the idea really love it.
yeah.
So I would assume that if it's been done, they would have seen it before. But, and the vests are an investment, no pun intended, because we're getting him up at Route 1. There's a leather shop up there, and they're all custom made.
Okay.
So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. And I have a feeling that, if it takes off, we're going to have vests in all sizes because, it's no secret that some bikers are big people.
Right.
We have some. So I tried on larges and extra larges, and the woman at the leather shop is like, if you're buying these for people who ride a lot, you better get some double XLs. I was like, okay. Well, I put on a large and I couldn't even button it.
Okay.
So I'm like, I better get some big.
Yeah,
We're gonna have a good time. Maybe you and your wife can come down. My wife's gonna be there. There's gonna be a band, food. It'd be fun. It'd be fun.
Cool. I love it.
We'll throw a vest on you. We'll do a double take.
My son, who he turned 16 in August, he is, and I know, you and I kind of bonded over this before because my son's a baseball player. Your son was a baseball player, but he's going to right at that age where, okay, is his learner's permit and everything is coming. So he's way into, cars and what kind of car this is and what kind of motorcycles and things like that. So even, to bring him to something like that, I have no doubt he would love it.
Come on, fun. I mean, it would be good for us to meet our families to meet too.
Yeah. I joke about it. It's one of the things I tell my estate planning clients when I'm talking about how important it is to have a plan in place, especially if you've got kids that are, aren't quite adults or just kind of maybe bridging that gap between, young adulthood to adulthood. I say, if I die tomorrow and I didn't have a plan in place, my son would take every dime that I gave him and would go buy every car and motorcycle and, and would blow all the money in 2 days on Ferraris and Lamborghinis and motorcycles, because he's just at that age where there's nothing cooler. You know what I mean? So I'm telling you, he would be just thrilled to go,
bring him. If I can get my son down there, they can talk baseball too.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we've chatted about it in the past, and your son's a little older than mine. So your son has kind of been through the journey that my son is going through right now. He's in high school. He'd like to play some ball in college, and he's going to go to college for academics to be what he wants to be, but he'd like to play ball while he's there. And so, hearing some of that advice about, things that your son did and doing these showcases and playing in different places around the country, it's invaluable.
It was an absolute whirlwind, the whole recruiting process for them to go to college. And it was a lot of fun, and I have wonderful memories. And, obviously he's just got his master's degree, he hung up his cleats, and time to make a living. But it was an amazing part of his life. And I'm really happy that I had a chance like you to bond with him over all these trips and travel, tournaments, and, watching his highs and his lows. And I think they learn more from the struggles and the failures. And that's what I love about baseball. You fail so often, and you have to, in the face of failure and adversity, you have to keep getting up at the plate, taking a swing. And that's what people, it's a good metaphor for life.
It really is. And you think about the best hitters in the world get up there and hit 3 out of 10 times and fail the other 7 times. And those are the best in the world at it. So, being able to deal with that and overcome that and still get up the next time and take a swing, it takes some fortitude. It
builds a lot of character too. And it's funny because I had my son, after his college baseball career came to an end, he only played 2 years in college. Academics became, the conflict between, he was studying engineering, it was pretty rigorous, and baseball. And he came to me, he's like, Dad, I just, I can't do both anymore. So once he was done, I asked him, I said, now that you know what you know, and baseball's come to an end after 2 years of college, do you regret all the effort and all the other, all that hard work and sacrifice? Do you regret any of that? And he looked at me with a strange look, and he's like, are you kidding me? That made me who I am today. And I thought about it. It was like, what a great way to think about it. He had all these wonderful memories, but he was well aware of the fact that baseball helped mold him into, he's the hardest working young person I've ever met. He's like, nobody outworks him, and baseball made him that way.
Yeah.
Or helped him, solidify that as a personality trait, and it served him well academically, and I'm pretty sure it's going to serve him really well professionally in his career. It's just, you take it with you. So I'm sure all sports have something to add to your life skills, but baseball is really good because unlike football and contact sports, where if you lose your temper and you get frustrated, you can act out physically. It's part of the game. You can hit somebody in football. You can hit and check somebody in hockey. In baseball, once you lose it, once you let your emotions get away from you, you can't hit, you can't field, you're a mess. So it's a real exercise in mental toughness. And Son and I, and I'm sure you and your son have talked about, working on your mental toughness game, because you might have a game where you go 0 for 3, yet you're going to come up at the bottom of the last inning with runners in scoring position. You've just had 3 crappy at bats. You feel like you can't even hit a ball anymore, but now everyone's counting on you to wash that away, focus on what's right in front of you. That's a valuable skill. I can't imagine a better training ground for that life skill than baseball. So I'm glad he chose baseball. I was a hockey player. I don't believe I would have had that type of mental ability. I think, I a little bit of a hothead as a younger person, and I don't know if I could have. Maybe I could, maybe I couldn't. I don't know. But playing baseball has been super beneficial to him. And I think at some point, if he meets your son and they connect and they talk, he'd be a real good person to be able to speak to.
We talk about it, but still, I haven't been through it. I wasn't a baseball player. I wasn't a great athlete, in high school. And so, we can talk about it, but it's still not the same as somebody that's been through it. And, the character building and the discipline and the hard work gave your son the wherewithal to say, okay, I'm at the point where maybe I'm burning things at both ends. And I'm going to take that discipline and apply it here. And recognize that, that, doing that and going through all that made me who I am. And I can take that and apply that to other areas of my life. That's the goal. I mean, my son's never going to play in Major League Baseball, but he can take those lessons and be the best, student and whatever else he's going to do with his life, and take those lessons and bring those in. That's what I want. That's what baseball, what I want it to do for him. So I love, he's loved to talk to your son. I tease my son too, because he went to St. John's Prep. They had a great baseball program, and his junior year, he was the starting shortstop, and the 2 shortstops before him both got drafted and played minor league baseball. Major League. And one of them still in the Yankee system. And I'm like, and I tease him, he's got a great sense of humor. And I'm like, you just ended that trend, right? It's just like, one went to the Pittsburgh Pirates, one went to the Yankees, and then there's you, and he laughed, and we joke about it. So he's got a good sense of humor. You got to get a few, jabs in here and there. That's just a way for fathers and sons, the way it's got to work. All he has to do is say, Dad, where did you play? And then the argument's over. Nowhere. Oh my God. All right. So what I want you to do, and I won't keep you. I appreciate you spending this much time with me. For anybody that's interested, first of all, anybody that's injured and is, in this place where, they're not sure what to do or who to contact, any of my clients know that, you're my guy when it comes to that stuff. But if somebody's in that position, I want you to just be able to, throw out there how they get in touch with you. Give me your contact info, website info, and same thing if anybody's interested in learning more about, I do have clients that ride, and if any of them might be, interested in wearing the vest for one of these rallies and come on down, that's great, taking an extra, donation, and they want to call you and get in touch with you and talk to you about it, that'd be great. How do they get in touch with you, whether it's about any of this stuff?
obviously, we have a website, spadalawgroup.com. Pretty easy to remember. You can also go to massbikerlawyer.com. Take you to my motorcycle page of our website. If you want to call or text, it's 617-889-5000. You can call that or text it. And that's a pretty quick way to get in touch with me. And that's about it. I'd be more than happy. Even if you have questions, you don't have to feel like if you call where there's going to be some hard sell to try to get you to go. I really enjoy speaking to people, helping. Many times I'll have a conversation with someone and be like, you don't need a lawyer, and I'm okay with having those types of conversations because we want to be a resource for you. We want to be someone that if a friend of yours or a family member needs somebody, be like, I spoke to attorney Len Spader and he gave me his time and we were able to discuss the problem. So 617-889-5000, call or text. And spadalawgroup.com, you can have a live web chat if that's your preference.
Cool. That's fantastic. All right. I appreciate it. Thanks for staying on with me so long. I appreciate it so much. I love talking to you. I know, we always joke around, when we're ever in pictures together that, we share the same haircut, but we share a lot of other
I think it's
things.
hilarious. It's like the younger version of me, If I could go back in time, my beard would be darker and I'd look more like you. And you're always so well dressed, Mike. Well, listen, thank you for having me. I enjoyed talking to you and hope to see you soon.
All right. Awesome, my friend. Thanks so much.
Take care. Have a great day.